Hi, so today we're going to be talking about substrate. So understanding the foundation of every mosaic. So before any tile is cut, before any adhesive is chosen, before a design begins to take shape, there is something quietly holding it all together. The substrate. It doesn't sparkle, it doesn't draw attention, but it is the surface that carries your entire mosaic, physically and structurally. For beginners, substrates are often overlooked, but understanding them early changes everything. It's the difference between a mosaic that lasts for decades and one that cracks, lifts, or fails over time. So by the end of this lesson, you will understand what a mosaic substrate is and its role in mosaic art, the different types of substrates available to mosaic artists, how substrate choice affects durability, adhesion and longevity, the relationship between substrates, materials and environment, common beginner misunderstandings when choosing a base. So the substrate is a surface or base that your mosaic is on. It is the foundation that supports every tile, every adhesive bond, and every layer of your design. Think of it like the roots of a tree. You may never see them, but they determine how strong, stable, and long-lasting the entire structure will be. In mosaic art, the structure must hold weight, remain stable over time, work in harmony with materials and your environment. Different substrates behave differently. Some absorb moisture, some expand and contract. Some are rigid while others flex. This is why substrate choice is not just a technical decision, it's foundational, artistic one. So some of the common substrates, you've got plywood, MDF, you've got cement board, which is a bit rigid, you've got concrete pavers and stepping stones, you've got glass and terracotta. So some of the things you would use to prep your substrates are sealants, sandpaper, cloth for cleaning, some primer, or even some waterproof membrane. Some tools you might need while dealing with your substrate: a paintbrush or a roller, pencil for marking out, and a ruler or measuring tape, and then for plywood, jigsaw, moulds for concrete, things like that. So let's break down a few of these substrates. So you've got your wooden bases. So these are things like your MDF plywood or your pre-bought shaped coasters. So they're common, they're accessible, and they're beginner friendly. They're often used for indoor mosaics and can definitely be affected by moisture and warping. So that needs to be considered. So onto your cement-based surfaces. They're strong, stable, and durable. Ideal for outdoor or wet mosaic installations. They're less prone to movement over time unless you've got extreme freezing temperatures, where I do understand that they swell and you do get tiles popping off if you have freezing temperatures. So then you come across your pre-made objects. So you've got things like pots, bird baths, statues, things like that. And so depending on what it's made out of, these things behave differently. And then you have glass or non-porous surfaces. So they're smooth, non-absorbent, and they don't grip to materials naturally. These require careful material compatibility. Then you have flexible and unstable surfaces. So these can bend, warp and shift over time. So movement can cause cracking or detachment popping off. Generally unstable, not recommended. So these would be plastics, for example. Plastics. So real wood context. So every decision you make connects back to your substrate, even if you don't realise it yet. So your substrate influences whether your tiles will stay attached, how your mosaic handles weather over time, whether it cracks from the grout or adhesive coming off. A common beginner misunderstanding is thinking if the tiles stick at the beginning, it's going to be fine. But mosaic is not about something that looks good today. It's about something that holds up over time. Another misconception is assuming all surfaces behave the same. In reality, wood moves. Concrete stays pretty stable. Glass resists adhesion. Outdoor conditions amplify your weaknesses. So if there's something that's tend to crack, tend to warp, get affected by weather, outside conditions are extreme and will amplify these issues. So mindfulness check. Working with substrate teaches a quiet but powerful lesson. Not everything strong is visible. The foundation of your work, the part no one sees, is what determines its success. There's a tendency, especially when excited to create, to rush past this stage, to get to the tiles, the colours, the design. But mosaic rewards patience. When you slow down and consider your base, you're not delaying creativity, you're protecting it. A well-chosen substrate allows your work to exist fully without strain or resistance. So reflection. Take a moment to sit. Have a think. Do I tend to rush into things without considering? What kind of mosaic do I feel drawn to? Indoor, outdoor, decorative, functional? How might the environment my mosaic lives in affect its longevity? Am I choosing services based on convenience? Or am I choosing them based on intention? So, this is your compound learning time, interactive learning. So, let's test your understanding. So, quick self-check. What is the role of substrate in mosaic art? How might wood behave differently compared to concrete? What could happen if the surface begins to spend after the tiles have been stuck? All right, mini challenge time. So look around you. Identify 3 potential mosaic substrates. Now for each one, ask yourself, is it rigid or flexible? Is it porous or is it smooth? Would it change over time? So if it got affected by moisture or heat? This simple observation builds real-time learning. So now that you understand the foundation of a mosaic, the next step is exploring what you connect your tiles to it with. In the upcoming lesson, we'll move into adhesives, how materials bond to your substrate, and then we'll look into tesserae, so what you're sticking to your adhesives on your substrate. Let's get into it.